Hey me friends, welcome to the weekly pick a card, or hopefully it will become weekly. Deck 1 is gonna be the Mucha Tarot, deck 2 is the Arcanum Tarot, and deck 3 is the Llewellyn Tarot. And the question this week is, should I stay or should I go? So basically this could be a person, a relationship, this could be a situation in your life, a job, a living situation, whatever it might be. The question is, should I stay or should I go? So basically guys, take a moment, think about that question, look at the decks, pause if you need to, pick your deck, and I will have timestamps for you in the description. So let's go ahead and get started with deck 1, the Mucha Tarot. Should I stay or should I go? And let's see what we have coming up for you guys. So as I'm connecting with the energy of those of you who chose this deck, I'm feeling a little bit nauseous. And those of you who've read with me privately, or who've maybe it's come up in other videos that you've seen, when I get nauseous when I'm connecting with an energy, it tells me that there's a lot of toxic energy there. So you may be dealing with a person or a place where this is someone that might take their anger out on others, or someone that could do like that eerie little backhanded compliment thing where they, you know, take an insult and they wrap it in a compliment, and at first it seems like a compliment, but really they're just saying things to get inside your head or make you feel bad. Again, this is a general reading, so it may resonate, it may not, but we'll see what the cards have to say. But some of you, I think, are dealing with some toxic energy, or somebody who can be like, when they're not in a good mood and when they're not happy, they can be downright mean. So you might be dealing with someone like that. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out 5 cards. Two, three, 4, 5. So the situation leading up to where you are now, you have Queen of Swords. And so this is going to be, this could be a person for some of you. This could be a mother figure who maybe was like, toughen up, suck it up, you know, like, don't be so weak. It could be somebody that maybe didn't want to hear excuses, didn't want to hear, you know, like, you complaining or being weak. So maybe for some of you, this could be something within yourself. Like maybe you felt like, I have to toughen up, or maybe you grew up that way. For some of you, this could be an air sign female. This could be somebody who may be affected the situation. So maybe you're in a situation right now because you were trying to get away from an air sign female, or an air sign female who was helping you. Maybe you had a better relationship and maybe it was a little more loving, and maybe they've mentored you or they even encouraged you into a situation, and now maybe some of you are kind of like regretting it or feeling like it wasn't the right thing, or you're questioning it in some way. For some of you, it was about setting boundaries. So some of you left a situation and you were the one who was like, no more crap, no more drama, no more whatever. So you may have put a cut to certain things, or you may have cut off certain people or situations to begin with. Moving into the more recent past, we have the Tower, and this is a major arcana card, my friends. So this is going to be something having to do with a really major life shift. It could be a soulmate situation with like a romantic situation that kind of started falling apart, or even something with friends, a close friend or family, or even like a job that meant a lot to you. Something could have fallen away or ended. So I think some of you really, really worked really hard to get to where you were, and then it just kind of fell apart. I think for some of you it fell apart, and you were trying to prove something to this air sign person or air sign energy here coming in, and maybe there's some feelings of like, now you feel like you need this person or situation to work out because you're looking for it to validate you. Like, you know, I need this person to love me, otherwise I feel like nobody's ever going to love me. Or I need this job to work out, or nobody else is going to want me, or nobody else is going to hire me. Or I have nowhere to go, or I don't fit in anywhere. So there could be a lot of feelings for some of you where you're really questioning like your worth or your value, or you may be struggling with worth or value. But something may have ended, and it may be difficult or scary, or you might feel like, man, you know, like I've had bad experiences in the past, so maybe I should be grateful for where I am now, and I should stay where I am now. That might be what some of you are thinking as well. In the present moment, you have Seven of Pentacles. So this is like really working really hard. And it's funny that this card would come up now, because at the time that I'm recording this video, we're still in the Venus retrograde, which is a time where a lot of people are kind of looking into how much work they've been putting into something versus how much they've been getting back. It's kind of like you're reevaluating, like, man, I'm really spinning my wheels here. I'm really giving it my all. And like, is it worth it? Is what I'm getting back worth it? So some of you feel like you're working super duper hard, and you may be questioning if the energy you're putting into this situation is even worthwhile. Now, some of you might be saying, maybe I should stay where I am. Maybe I should play it safe, because, you know, I've had a tough road getting here. So am I complaining too much? Am I making a big deal out of nothing? Am I overreacting? Am I being too sensitive? So there's a lot of kind of questioning happening here. Like, should I do this or should I not? Should I stay here? Am I like being too picky or too demanding for wanting more? I feel some of you are struggling or thinking that maybe in some way, you know, maybe you should settle, or maybe you're being too demanding. You might be questioning that about yourselves. And here we have anxiety. So this makes me feel, guys, like you've worked really hard to get to where you are. You've been through some crap. You've been through some junk, okay, we'll say. And now you're working really hard, but you feel like there could be better or there could be more, but you're afraid. You're afraid because we have the Nine of Swords here. So there's all this fear and this anxiety. Am I going to regret it if I take this leap of faith? Am I going to regret it if I move on? Are things not going to work out for me? Or things never work out for me? And Nine of Swords is basically letting you know that a lot of your fear, a lot of your worry, even though you may be worrying about things that are very possible, they may never actually happen, okay? You might have real legitimate fears. Like, okay, like, what if I take this new job and I hate it? Or what if I break up with my boyfriend or my girlfriend and I really end up missing them? Like that, those are logical fears. You're not saying, what if a shark jumped out of my bathtub and bit me? I mean, that's never going to happen. That's not logical. Like, your fears are logical. Your fears are things that are quite possible, but they may not happen. They may not happen. And you can't live your life in fear of things that may not happen. You have to take the steps that you can to, you know, make your decisions as safe as possible. You have to think ahead. You have to plan ahead. You have to take those steps to kind of protect yourself or to be prepared. But at the end of the day, whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and we can cross that bridge when we get to it. And you might not have to cross that bridge. You may never get to that bridge. So this is saying that a lot of the worry, a lot of the fear is more of the negative ego coming back to this card here. For those of you who are dealing with this person, maybe there was someone in your earlier life or at some point that made you feel like you don't make good decisions, or you don't know what you're doing, or what you want is silly, or you want too much, or you're too difficult, or whatever it might be. Those criticisms may be kind of like replaying in your head right now. So my whole thing is, I'm always going to encourage people to go out and to do more, to go for their dreams, to be logical while they're doing it, obviously. You're not gonna, quit your job and run away and join the circus. But, I'm always encouraging people to believe in themselves and to make an effort towards the things that make them happy. But in order to do this, you're going to have to really check that record that's playing in your head. A lot of you have these constant criticisms against yourself as well, like you're not good enough or you're asking for too much. I think for some of you, I keep getting this really, really hard, or really, really consistently here in this reading, I feel a lot of you want to move on, but you're not moving on because you feel like you're being too demanding. You're being too picky. You should just be happy with where you are. And that might just be the voice in your head that's playing and saying, like, look, you know what? Like, you're not that smart, or you're not that cute. Be happy with what you get. And it's not about being smart, or it's not about being cute. And it doesn't even mean that you aren't smart and that you aren't cute. You could be super cute. You could be super smart. There's a billion trillion different types of smart. There's a billion trillion different types of cute. So it's not even about that necessarily, but this is just more about you believing that you can do this and that you're worthy of more. I think for a lot of you this is worth, and I think for a lot of you you're struggling with humility. Like, am I being too proud? Should I be humble and stay to where I'm at? And I think some of you are feeling very bad and very guilty for wanting more. But I do feel that whatever is happening in your life, whether you're questioning to stay in a relationship or a job or a living situation, the reason why you're questioning it is you're working really hard, but I feel like you're not getting a whole lot back emotionally. I feel for a lot of you, your emotional needs are not being met right now, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's a big thing to be missing. So your outcome here is Knight of Pentacles, and that does feel to me like ultimately you are deciding to move on. You're being very cautious about it though, which is a good thing. Like, you're being very smart, you're planning ahead, you're not doing it in a way where you're rocking the boat, you're playing it safe. So like, say if you are in a situation where you're dealing with an abusive partner, you're being very smart about the way that you're leaving. You know, you're not like going to be really like open and in their face, and you're not going to do it in a way where you're like risking them to get mad or for them to make it hard for you to leave. You're being very smart. If it's a situation where you are leaving a job, you know, you're not just going to go and quit on the spot, but you're preparing your resume, you're preparing like the logistics of things, and you're getting out there and you're taking steps forward. And for those of you who are really kind of having to deal with financial things, like maybe you do want to move, right? Maybe you're just in a situation, or maybe you're in a relationship and it's not necessarily abusive, but like you need that person financially. Maybe you're not in a point right now where you can just kind of like up and leave and, you know, get your own place. So some of you are getting money together. Some of you are, you know, working out a work situation. But with the Knight of Pentacles, it's really analyzing, planning, making a good plan, moving forward. So you're getting away from whatever the situation is. You are moving on, you are leaving, but you're being very balanced and very smart in the way that you're doing it. So it may take time. For some of you, this is going to be like a long-term plan as you're moving forward. And the changes may not come overnight, but you're making them and you're moving along. You know, you're moving along. And for those of you who are in an abusive situation, I would definitely say this card is not saying take your time to leave. This card is saying once you do leave, you're going to be okay, but you have to have reasonable expectations of yourself. It's not like everything is going to be, you know, hunky-dory overnight. I mean, you might go through stages where, you know, you're dealing or you're leaning on somebody for help, and then, or it could be like a center or a shelter or whatever, and then next step is, you know, getting help and, you know, getting a different place or getting a job. Like, things are going to happen in stages. Or even for those of you who are leaving a job or something like that, it's going to happen in stages. It doesn't mean that you should stay and you should endure, but that feeling of, okay, well, here's the next thing, now I'm really set, that's going to be a process for some of you. That's going to be kind of like a journey, but there's beauty in that as well. The thing with the Knight of Pentacles is the Knight of Pentacles doesn't give up. He doesn't push himself in the way where he's like putting pressure on himself, I guess is what I want to say. Like, he stays committed, he stays focused, he stays you know, active, but he's not beating himself up, and he's not going to pressure himself, and he's not going to hurry himself when he doesn't need to, right? So this is slow and steady, long-term progress. So I do feel like some of you are moving forward. I do feel like some of you may be having help coming in from a earth sign male. This could be a relative, this could be a family member, this could be a new romantic partner for some of you, this could be a boss or a supervisor who's gonna like have your back and try to help you get promoted or try to help you with some situation at work or to move up. For those of you who are just kind of like, I just need more so that I can move on with my life, you know, you might need the financial. So for some of you, this could be somebody coming in and helping you in that way as well. And I do feel like you're ultimately leaving this situation, right? But I think a lot of it is just coming into your self-worth and making a commitment to yourself, making a promise to yourself that you're not going to give up on yourself. And as long as you don't give up on yourself, I do feel like you're going to end up in a happier path and a happier situation. This is definitely for those of you who chose this deck. You know, in the exception of if there's abuse, you always want to leave. You always want to protect yourself. You want to protect any children that may be involved. So that would have to be with like leaving for those of you who are in that situation. And then from there, as you leave, it's definitely a choose your own adventure. Your life is going to be what you decide to make it or the direction you decide you want to go in. But in general, I think for a lot of you, you have options, you have choices. You just have to give yourself permission for wanting more, knowing that you deserve more, and then just not giving up on yourself once you begin moving forward. So I hope that helps. Now we'll move on to deck number 2, which is the Arcanum Tarot. Let's see what we have going on here. For those of you who chose the Arcanum Tarot, I feel that for some of you who chose this deck, you're just feeling bored. You're feeling discontent. Like it's just like something is missing. Maybe you're not even sure quite as to what, but it just feels a little bit like something's missing. Something's missing. So let's see what we have coming up here. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so that would make sense. Something's missing. A lot of you have Queen of Wands coming up. So maybe in the past there was more action, there was more adventure. For some of you, this may be you. You may be the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is definitely a self-made woman. She's somebody who's worked very hard to be where she is. She's somebody who just got tired of the BS and was like, I'm not taking this anymore. And really like set off and made a better life for herself. She's sexy, she's funny, she's smart, she's a kind person, a warm person, definitely a fun person to hang out with. So for some of you, you maybe had this sense of adventure, or at some point, wherever you are now, you had set out on this adventure, or you had a lot of passion or excitement when you were moving forward. For some of you who are dealing with a partner type situation, either you had a Queen of Wands that you were dating or that you were attracted to, that's kind of the issue here, or some of you were the Queen of Wands. Now, one kind of caution I want to give you about the Queen of Wands when she shows up in love is that sometimes it could be that you're the other woman in a situation for some of you, or maybe for some of you you had another woman, you had somebody maybe on the side here, and they might be a factor in your current situation, or you might be thinking about them now. But this could be a situation where there was just a lot of physical attraction, a lot of chemistry. It could be like a lover type situation, but not necessarily like a wife or a marriage, you know, or, you know, it could be that it just started out this way and it became something more serious. But this is a general reading, so it's going to apply in different ways. But that might be a way in which right now kind of foundation for why you're not as happy. There may have been more excitement in the past. And maybe you're not feeling that now in the present moment. You know, and then here we have Knight of Pentacles, and Knight of Pentacles is more very much about being, planning and making decisions and making long-term goals and slow and steady progress. And it could be sometimes described as a boring person when we're looking at it as a person. So maybe some of you, you're this like queen of fire, right? And you're dealing with somebody who's more like Knight of Pentacles, and you might just be feeling like, I want the action, I want the adventure, I want the passion. And this person just might be very much, about practicality and, responsibilities in everyday life. Or maybe, like you're in that practicality everyday life, but you're wanting this kind of energy, or you had it in the past, and as you began moving towards your goals and trying to make them a reality, and it got into like the planning stages and being realistic about it or manifesting it, you may have lost your passion or your joy. It may have began to feel more kind of like not secondary, but like autopilot. Began feeling maybe like autopilot for some of you, and so there could be a discontentment in that way. And then here we have Eight of Cups, and this is a desire for something more. Eight of Cups is like something is missing, but you don't know what it is, but you're about ready to just walk away from everything and go searching for whatever it is that is missing, that like you can maybe find or that you might find. So it's definitely a feeling here of like wanting more, needing more. And I think for a lot of you, it's because you were really passionate about something. It happened, it became a reality, and now you're not feeling fulfilled. You're really not feeling fulfilled, and you're feeling like you just want that spiritual connection, you want that emotional connection, you want to be in love with your life. That's what I'm hearing, in love with life. I want to be in love with my life, but you're not feeling in love with your life because things are feeling a little bit boring, and that which you were so passionate about before, maybe you're having a really hard time getting excited about it now. Maybe in love, for some of you, you were all about the attraction and the romance and the sexuality and the connection in that way, and now you're like, oh, like that was all great and fun and nice, but I just want somebody to hold me at the end of the day, or I just want somebody I can talk to about my problems, or I just want somebody that I can, be best friends with and like have that companion relationship too. Or somebody that's going to connect with me on a spiritual level. So like a lot of you are wanting more. I think a lot of you are coming out of the sex and money stages that a lot of people go to, like when they think about success or when they think about having a good life, they think about, having an attractive partner, or they think about being like financially successful. And that's important for a lot of people. I mean, we have a whole society based on it. We have people selling us things based on us feeling like we have to be super attractive, and we have to be having tons of sex, and we have to be making tons of money, and that's what society kind of puts in our heads. And I think some of you maybe were very much in that mindset, and now you're like, ugh. Like whether or not you've accomplished any of that, regardless, you're just in a place now where you're like, that's not doing it for me. Like I've went out, I've experienced it on whatever level of success or whatever level of exposure, and it's not fulfilling for me. So some of you are really looking for deeper connection and deeper meaning right now. The way that this is kind of translating as you're moving forward, and I don't do reversals, guys, but even if I did, either way, I talk about both sides of the card anyway. I just don't like presenting them in reverse because it may make somebody think negatively or pessimistically. Okay, so for some of you, you're definitely heading towards this Ace of Wands, which is a new beginning or a new passion. You're finding something new to be passionate about. Okay, some of you are falling into a repeated cycle where you're going after this passion thinking it's a new beginning, but it's not really a new beginning. You're feeling unfulfilled. Maybe you had that passion and that excitement, and now you're feeling unfulfilled. So you're finding something new to be passionate or excited about. You're finding a new partner, or you're finding a new goal, or just something new that is like seducing you in some way. But you may still be not realizing it but still moving forward in that base level. And nothing's going to make you happy until you find that emotional spiritual connection. So you might be about to repeat a cycle with a new partner where you're just basically going through much of the same thing all over again. And then you think, oh, well, maybe this person's going to fulfill me, or maybe this situation's going to fulfill me. But you're still approaching it from the same angle, honestly. I think for a lot of you, as cheesy as this might sound for some of you, that, that missing cup is within yourself. It's you. And some of you are looking outside of yourselves. So if you're looking at this reverse, some of you are looking outside of yourselves and you're about to repeat a cycle that's like not going to help you in any way, not make any changes. Some of you are having a hard time finding a new passion, but you're going to get there. And when I say passion, I mean, like a life purpose or something that's meaningful to you. I don't necessarily just mean passion in like the romance novel kind of way. But a lot of you are needing to make that connection, okay? It's like you're needing to start anew. You're needing to start anew. Don't repeat a cycle by looking for this fulfillment or this excitement in another person or another situation. You got to find it within yourself. You got to find what you're passionate about and pursue that. So your outcome here, my friends, is 7 of Swords. So those of you who are going into a new situation with a new partner or a new lover, or going back to an old one that you felt a really strong connection with, this may be somebody who's not being totally upfront with you. Like they just kind of might want the physical connection, but they're not gonna, set in, and they're not gonna give you like a long-term commitment or like a long-term relationship type, like a serious relationship. For some of you, you're having to find new ways of moving forward. For some of you, I feel you're coming into a time of where you are re-examining what you think is okay and what you think is not okay in relationships. I think some of you are struggling with gray areas. I think some of you maybe were very black and white, like everything in life is black and white, and I think some of you are coming into gray areas or having to figure out gray areas as you're moving ahead. Some of you are having to move ahead very carefully. Very carefully. You're having to use skill here. You're having to watch where you step. For some of you, somebody is going to make it very difficult for you to move on because they're examining you or they're watching you and they're figuring out how to get into your head or to convince you to stay or to convince you that, oh, you should listen to them. Don't trust your feelings, listen to me. And that's very dangerous. I think what this card means for a lot of people is somebody in your situation is telling you not to trust your feelings, not to listen to your feelings. But here it's just telling you the answer is within yourself. You got to listen to your feelings. You got to trust your feelings. It's inside of you. I think some of you are dealing with seduction, to be honest with you. Those of you who picked these cards, I feel like life is a little bit boring right now, and you have somebody who seems like they're going to be very exciting, or it's enticing you in some way, or some job offer, or some other situation, like the grass is greener on the other side type energy. But there may be some deceit here. There may be some trickery here, and you really want to be careful with that. So I think those of you who are in this situation, especially when you have somebody who's trying to pull you into a new situation, and you're very tempted to walk away from your life or walk away from like a relationship in your life and like start a new life, this new person, this new opportunity may leave you disappointed. So you're going to have to really come into like trusting your own power, trusting your own intuition, and then the right person or situation is going to come along. But whatever is coming in right now and trying to call you away from your current life may lead you down the same cycle again, or may leave you feeling very unfulfilled again. So I feel like you're going to have to make your decision moving forward, not because of another person or because of another offer, but this, for you guys in this situation, you are moving on, but it's going to be an inside job. It's going to be from you connecting with what you want and what feels right to you and what feels good to you and having a spiritual connection, and you're going to find fulfillment in that way. And then you're going to have better partners coming in or better situations coming in. But some of you are dealing with somebody who's seducing you or who's being tricky in some way. They're taking advantage of the fact that you feel unfulfilled or you feel unhappy, and they may be making promises that they're not going to keep. So you want to be careful of that. Okay? So let's look into the next cards. We're going to go to the Luan Tarot. And this is, should I stay or should I go? And let's see what we have coming up here. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alrighty, my friends. We have 5 of Swords. So some of you somewhere burned a bridge. You may have overcome an obstacle with somebody, or had an argument with somebody, or took a stand, and you may be looking back and regretting it. You may be feeling, man, should I have broken up with that person? Or should I have left that job on those terms? Did I overreact? So some of you really stuck it to someone, and now maybe like you're regretting it, or you're second guessing it. My advice to you, for those of you who are feeling this way, is that you never woke up one day and just felt some way for no kind of reason at all. There's a reason why you felt that way. So although maybe you might be regretting the way something ended or the way something was handled, you felt the way that you felt for a reason. And so I don't think there's any mistakes in that way, where like if you have moved on, you shouldn't have moved on. I think there's a reason why you wanted to move on, and it was a very valid reason. But some of you may be feeling bad about the way things ended or the way you walked away from something. And so you began to search for peace or for happiness in another situation. So maybe like you felt guilt about the way things were, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to move on and try to create a new life elsewhere, or I'm going to try to create something better for myself, somewhere else. So you're already in a situation where you left a bad situation, and now so you might feel like there's a lot riding on this current situation. Well, I can't fail here because I really, really went to extremes with somebody else, and if I fail here, then I look like a loser, or I look like I was wrong. So some of you are feeling like you're in a job or in a relationship that you have to make it work. You have to make it work because you're feeling like you have a lot riding on it, because you think that if it doesn't work out or you walk away from it, you think that people are going to judge you, or you're thinking in some way it's going to mean that like you failed when you set out to prove something to someone else. And here we have 3 of Wands. And so this is like having to make a decision about expanding your thinking and moving forward. So even though some of you, I'm going to be very honest with you, some of you feel like you're in a situation where you can't leave because you have to prove something to somebody. You have a lot riding on being successful. It's not that you're failing and walking away from the situation. You have come into a time of growth. Leaving whatever you left behind was growth for you. And now you're growing again. And you really have an opportunity to move on to someone or something better, a better version of yourself, a better career, a better relationship, whatever it might be. But you're having to expand your thinking, and you're having to come outside of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of you are struggling because this decision is going to be very permanent. Like in this card, you have this merchant, and he's sending off his goods on these merchant ships. But like once they're gone, they're gone. Like, he can't, this is the old times. He can't like call on a cell phone or something and say, hey guys, I changed my mind. I'm not ready to send this stuff off to like other places to be sold, and I don't want to do it anymore. Like, that's it. The ships have sailed. They're gone. It's already in motion. So I think for some of you, whatever the changes are, they're already in motion. Like, I think a lot of you are at a point of no return, and you're having to trust yourself, and you're having to trust your situation, that this is for your greatest good. This is to help you expand. This is help to grow. This is to help you, you know, move towards a bigger, better thing in your life for yourself. So I think some of you, it's already in motion. It's already begun. It's not even about should I stay or should I go. It's already begun, and things have been said, or things have happened that you can't take back. The ball is already rolling here. So then here you have Six of Pentacles. So whatever is happening, there's gonna be a return for you in some way, which is good. Six of Pentacles is about the energy balancing out. Maybe you've been really putting in a lot to a person or a situation, and they're finally starting to, you know, give some of that back. Whether it's energy, whether it's financial, there's a return for some of you. For some of you, this is purely financial. This is a work situation, so the money's finally coming in, and you're getting caught up with debts. So maybe if some of you were in a situation where you're like, should I stay or should I go? It has to do with a living situation, because I'm afraid I'm not going to have the money. This is saying money is balancing out. Like, things are coming in. Your ships are coming in, or your returns are coming in, and you're having the money that you need to, you know, pay for your own expenses, and even to help others a little bit. So your outcome here is Page of Swords. All right? So again, I think what's happening for you all is you have left a situation where maybe you're regretting the way that it ended, and you're in a situation now where you have a lot to prove. You need to be successful, but because of the way that this ended in the past, you're about to have to make another end. You're expanding. You're going to get caught up financially, energetically. Somebody or something is coming around, but you're still going to graduate onto something else. So you are leaving over time. But when you do leave, you're going to have to be careful in how you're cutting these ties, or how you are moving on. Whether you're quitting a job, whether you're leaving a partner. I think some of you who maybe picked this deck are dealing with a lot of like repressing feelings. So maybe like what you do is you let things slide, you let things slide, you let things slide, and then you just kind of burst or you explode. So you're going to really have to, your life lesson here is going to be how you're ending the situation when you do move on. You're going to have to be a little bit more creative with letting yourself express yourself in the meantime, so that you're not this pressure cooker. And then when you do approach this person or this situation to make your exit or to leave, to speak with authority, to stand up for yourself, but to do it in a more like composed way, where you're not losing it, or you're not burning a bridge. You're cutting your ties without burning a bridge. So I hope that helps, guys. That is our pick a card for the week. Make sure that you check out the weekly zodiac videos as well. Every week I do a reading for your zodiac sign, so check out your moon sign, your rising sign as well. Some weeks those are very helpful. And check out AmethystAngelLight on Facebook and Instagram. Every single day I do a free card of the day. I do a free pick a card, so check those out as well, my friends. And subscribe and hit notification, and you'll get a notification every time the new videos are out. Alright, my friends, take care.